Imagine a calm, smiling tone with pauses, humor, and practical wisdom, just like Gaur Gopal Das. You know, my friends, there is a magic in silence that most of us don't understand. When someone hurts us, when they betray us, when they say things that pierce our hearts, our first instinct is to react. We want to answer back. We want to send that one text that will burn them, that one status that will make them regret what they did. And in that moment, our emotions take over. But have you ever noticed when you do that, when you send that angry paragraph or scream your lungs out, you don't really feel better? Instead, you feel more drained, more broken. Why? Because reaction steals your power. Silence, on the other hand, gives it back to you. Imagine this. You're in a room and someone suddenly turns off the light. What's the first thing everyone does? They panic, shout, stumble. But the one who stands still, who doesn't waste energy flailing around, that person adjusts to the darkness faster. Life is exactly like that. When someone's actions bring darkness into your life, silence is your stillness. Silence is you saying, I will not stumble just because you turned off the light. And that, my friends, is powerful. Let me share a simple story. A girl once came to me and said, Swamiji, he hurt me so much. He insulted me in front of everyone. I don't know what to do. Should I block him? Should I post something about him online? I smiled and said, Beta, do nothing. Just be silent. She was confused. She said, how will silence solve my problem? I told her, silence is not about solving the other person's behavior. It's about solving your own mind. When you stop engaging, your heart finally gets space to heal. You reclaim your peace. A few months later, she came back smiling. She said, Swamiji, you were right. My silence drove him crazy. He tried to get a reaction, but I just focused on myself. And now, I feel stronger than ever. That's what silence does. It confuses the one who expects chaos from you, but more importantly, it heals you. Because silence is not weakness. Silence is a weapon. It's you saying, I will not lower my dignity to match your disrespect. And in today's noisy world, where everyone wants to be louder, more aggressive, and more reactive, silence is rare. That's why it's powerful. Think about it in daily life. Imagine you're at work. Your colleague tries to provoke you, maybe takes credit for your idea, or makes a sarcastic comment. The usual reaction is to argue, to defend yourself. But what if you don't? What if you just smile, stay calm, and let your work speak louder? They will be confused. They'll expect anger but receive composure. And over time, your silence becomes your strength. People begin to respect you because they see you don't lose control. Or take relationships. Sometimes when a man hurts you, maybe he says harsh words in anger, maybe he ignores you, maybe he even betrays you, the instinct is to fight, to demand explanations. But silence, my friends, is not about ignoring him, it's about protecting yourself. When you choose silence, you choose not to pour your energy into someone who has already shown you they don't value it. And that silence gives you space to think clearly, to heal, to grow. Silence also has a way of teaching lessons without you having to say a single word. You don't need to shout to show someone they crossed a line. Your quiet dignity says it all. It's like that saying, don't waste your words on people who deserve your silence. Because sometimes silence is the loudest answer you can give. But let me be very clear, silence is not suppression. It's not about bottling up your feelings and pretending you're okay. No, no. True silence is active, it's intentional. It's you deciding, I will not engage in chaos. I will keep my peace sacred. And that's when silence becomes healing. You can use that time and energy to invest in yourself. Read a book, learn something new, spend time with people who genuinely love you. While they are busy wondering why you didn't react, you are busy becoming a better version of yourself. Even in nature, silence has power. Have you noticed how a tree doesn't react when someone throws stones at it? It doesn't fight back. It quietly continues to give shade, to grow, to bear fruit. And one day, the same people who threw stones come back to sit in its shade. That's the power of not reacting. There's a saying I love. When you argue with a fool, you become one. Sometimes, reacting pulls you into a level where you lose your own peace and dignity. Silence keeps you above that level. And here's the most beautiful part. When you stay silent, you hear your own heart more clearly. You understand your feelings better. You get clarity about what you truly want, about whether that person, that situation, is even worth your time. So, my dear friends, the next time someone hurts you, before you pick up your phone to send that angry text, before you type that long emotional message, pause. Take a deep breath and embrace silence. Because silence is not empty, it is full of answers. It gives you the space to heal, to grow, and to come back stronger. And that, my friends, is how you truly confuse someone who tried to break you, by not letting them take away your peace. Because at the end of the day, your peace is your power. Guard it with silence. And when you do, you'll see that the world changes, not because they changed, but because you did. You know, my friends, there's something magical about a genuine smile, especially when life has given you every reason to cry. Most people believe that a smile is only a reflection of happiness, but that's not true. Sometimes a smile is a reflection of strength, of dignity, of resilience. When someone hurts you, when they betray your trust or say words that cut deep, they expect one thing from you: tears, drama, chaos. They expect you to fall apart. And when you don't, when instead you stand tall and smile, that, my friends, is what truly confuses them. A smile in the middle of pain is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing your own peace over their negativity. Think about it. When someone breaks your heart, you can either spend your days locked in your room, replaying those hurtful moments, or you can choose to get up, dress up, and step out with your head held high. That smile you wear then is not fake. It is your silent declaration to the world: you cannot take away my light. I remember meeting a young woman after one of my talks. She had been through a painful breakup. The man she trusted the most walked away without even an explanation. She told me, "Swamiji, I felt like my life was over. I couldn't stop crying. Everywhere I went, people could see my pain." I looked at her and said, "Beta, do you know what will make him regret the most? Not your tears, not your anger, but your smile. Not a smile to show him you're okay, but a smile because you are okay, with or without him." She didn't understand it at first. But a few weeks later, she messaged me saying, "I started smiling again, Swamiji. I focused on my work, spent time with my friends, and took care of myself. And guess what? People around me started saying, "You're glowing." That glow wasn't for him, it was for me. That's the magic of smiling through pain. You stop giving the one who hurt you the power to define your emotions. In daily life, too, this lesson is so powerful. At your workplace, when someone criticizes you unfairly, most people expect you to argue, to defend yourself aggressively. But what if you just smiled, nodded, and kept doing your best? That smile doesn't mean you agree with them. It simply means you refuse to let their negativity disturb your inner peace. Over time, that composure becomes your strength, and others start to respect you more because you didn't lose control. And let's be honest, smiling when you're hurting is not easy. It takes courage. But here's the beauty of it. The more you practice it, the more it heals you. When you smile, your body releases signals of positivity. Slowly, that positive energy starts to outweigh the heaviness in your heart. What starts as a choice eventually becomes your reality. You begin to genuinely feel lighter, happier, more at peace. Think of the most admired people in the world. They're not admired because they've never faced pain. They're admired because they didn't let pain steal their joy. There are countless stories of people who faced rejection, betrayal, and loss, but instead of breaking, they smiled and kept moving forward. Their smile didn't mean they weren't hurting. It meant they refused to stay stuck in that hurt. There's another angle to this. When you smile in the face of pain, you don't just heal yourself, you inspire others. People around you look at you and think, if she can smile through that, maybe I can too. Your strength becomes their strength. That's why a smile is never just about you. It's about the silent hope it gives to the people watching you. And remember, my friends, smiling is not about denial. It's not about suppressing your feelings. Cry if you need to. Feel the pain. But when you step out into the world, wear your smile like armor, not to hide your scars, but to show that those scars didn't define you. There's a big difference between a fake smile and a strong smile. A fake smile says, "I'm trying to convince everyone I'm fine." A strong smile says, "I know I'll be fine, no matter what." Even nature teaches us this. The sun rises every morning, even after the darkest night. It doesn't say, "Oh, the night was too long, I won't rise today." It rises, shining brightly, regardless of how dark the night was. Your smile is like that sunrise, a reminder that no matter how deep the pain, you have the strength to rise again. And here's the best part, your smile disarms negativity. The person who hurt you won't understand how you're still happy. They'll wonder, why isn't she broken? Why isn't she begging me to come back? That confusion is their problem, not yours. You don't owe them your tears or your breakdown. What you owe yourself is happiness, dignity, and peace. So, my dear friends, choose to smile, not because life is perfect, but because you deserve peace. Choose to smile because your heart knows that one day the pain will fade and the lessons will remain. Choose to smile because nothing and no one should have the power to dim your light. When you start doing this, you'll notice something beautiful. Life begins to respond to your energy. New opportunities open up. New people enter your life. And suddenly, what felt like the end becomes a new beginning. all because you chose to smile instead of suffer. So, the next time someone hurts you, don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you broken. Instead, wear that smile, calm, confident, unshaken. Let them wonder, let the world wonder, and let your smile remind you every single day, I am stronger than my pain, and I am more powerful than my circumstances. My friends, pain has a way of making us feel small. When someone hurts us, when they betray our trust, or when they walk away from our lives without an explanation, our first instinct is to blame ourselves. We sit in that corner of our room, looking at the ceiling, thinking, what's wrong with me? Why wasn't I enough? But let me tell you something very important today. When life breaks you, that is not the time to break yourself further. That is the time to upgrade yourself. You see, pain is like fire. It can either burn you to ashes or forge you into something stronger. The choice is yours. You can sit and cry for weeks, stalking their social media, replaying every conversation in your head, or you can stand up, wipe your tears, and say, this is my turning point. This is the moment I become the best version of me. Think about your phone. When it stops working well, what do? You upgrade it. You get a better version with better features. Why? Because you know you deserve something that works for you, not against you. Life is exactly like that. When someone leaves, that is the universe's way of saying, it's time for an upgrade. Not in them, but in you. I once met a young woman after a session. She told me, Swamiji, my fiancé left me 2 months before our wedding. I thought my life was over. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping, stopped living. I looked at her and said, Beta, you are seeing this as an ending. But what if this is the universe clearing the path for you to become someone greater than you've ever imagined? And do you know what she did? She started focusing on herself. She went to the gym, took courses, learned a new language, and started a small side business she had been postponing for years. A year later, when I met her again, she was glowing, successful, confident, and at peace. She said, Swamiji, if he hadn't left me, I would never have discovered this version of myself. That is the power of upgrading yourself. The pain of being hurt often pushes us to places we would never have gone otherwise. Maybe you've always wanted to start that business, write that book, take that trip, or simply take better care of yourself. Now is the time. Every time you feel that wave of sadness, don't drown in it. Use it as fuel. Let your pain push you to build a life so beautiful, so meaningful, that you forget you were ever in that dark place. Upgrading yourself doesn't always mean grand gestures. Sometimes it's simple things: waking up earlier, reading more, surrounding yourself with positive people, eating better, or picking up a hobby you love. These small steps slowly build a stronger, more confident version of you. And when you upgrade, something incredible happens. You start to outgrow the pain. The things that once consumed you don't hold the same power anymore. And here's something magical. The same people who hurt you will eventually notice. The man who thought you couldn't live without him will look at your transformation and think, did I really lose someone so amazing? But by then, you won't even care, because you'll have realized that you were always enough. More than enough. This principle applies everywhere in life. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe someone close to you betrayed your trust. You have two choices: shrink into that pain or grow beyond it. The universe rewards those who choose growth. When you use your challenges as opportunities to upgrade, you don't just change your circumstances, you change your entire energy. There's a saying I love: don't get bitter, get better. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every betrayal is an invitation to build boundaries and strength. Every ending is an opportunity for a new beginning, a better beginning. Think about a seed. Before it grows into a tree, it is buried in darkness. It probably thinks its life is over. But that darkness, that pressure, is what helps it grow roots and break through the soil. That's exactly what pain does to us. It buries us for a while, but only so we can grow stronger, deeper, and taller. And let's not forget the confidence that comes with upgrading yourself. When you focus on growth instead of revenge, you stop chasing validation. You stop waiting for someone to see your worth because you see it yourself. And that, my friends, is true freedom. One of the most powerful transformations I've witnessed was in a man who lost his business and his marriage in the same year. He told me, "Swamiji, I felt like the biggest failure." But instead of staying down, he started again. He studied new skills, built a new company, and focused on his health. A few years later, he said, "Losing everything was the best thing that happened to me. It forced me to build a version of myself I never knew I had inside me." So when someone hurts you, don't let that pain define you. Let it refine you. Let it push you to places of growth you never imagined. Take that energy you would have wasted on anger, on chasing, on proving yourself to someone who doesn't deserve you, and pour it into building the life of your dreams. And here's the most beautiful part: when you truly upgrade yourself, you don't do it to show anyone else. You do it for you, for your peace, for your future, for the person you are becoming. That quiet, confident glow you carry will speak louder than any words ever could. So, my dear friends, the next time someone tries to break you, smile and say to yourself, "Thank you for the lesson. Now watch me rise." Because the best revenge is not anger. The best revenge is a happy, fulfilled, upgraded version of you. A version that doesn't need anyone's approval to shine. My friends, forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood powers in the world. People often think that forgiving someone means letting them off the hook, allowing them back into your life, or pretending that what they did was okay. But true forgiveness is none of those things. Forgiveness is not for them, it is for you. It is about setting yourself free from the chains of anger, pain, and resentment that keep you tied to the person who hurt you. When someone hurts you deeply, your heart feels heavy, almost like carrying a sack of stones on your back. Every time you replay their words, every time you think of the betrayal, you add another stone to that sack. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and you wonder why you feel so tired, so drained, even when you've cut ties with them. It's because you're still carrying that weight. And my friends, forgiveness is simply you deciding to put that sack down. It is you saying, "I will not carry this pain any longer. It does not belong to me anymore." I remember talking to a young man who had been betrayed by his closest friend. He said to me, "Swamiji, I can't sleep. I can't stop thinking about what he did. I feel like I want him to suffer the way I'm suffering. I looked at him and said gently, Beta, you are drinking poison every day and expecting the other person to die. Your anger is not hurting him, it is hurting you. That's what holding on does. It traps you in a cycle of pain while the other person goes on with their life, often not even thinking about you. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is like opening the door of a prison cell and realizing you were the prisoner all along. It doesn't mean what they did was right. It doesn't mean you have to let them back into your life. It simply means you are no longer willing to let their actions steal your peace. Let me share a beautiful story. There was a woman I met during a workshop. She had gone through a painful divorce after years of emotional abuse. For months, she was consumed by anger. She wanted him to apologize, to acknowledge her pain, to feel guilty. But he never did. One day, she told me, Swamiji, I realized I was wasting my life, waiting for something that would never come. So I chose to forgive him, not for his sake, but for mine. From that day, her face began to change. She looked lighter, happier, almost as if a heavy cloud had lifted. That's the quiet miracle of forgiveness. Even in daily life, we see this play out. Maybe at work, someone took credit for your idea. Maybe a friend said something hurtful behind your back. Maybe someone you trusted let you down. Holding on to that anger might feel justified, but it also keeps you stuck. It keeps your energy tied to that hurt instead of being free to grow, to heal, to move forward. But the moment you decide, I forgive, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace, everything begins to shift. Forgiveness is also strength. It takes a strong heart to let go, to rise above the desire for revenge. Weakness holds grudges, strength releases them. People will sometimes confuse your forgiveness for weakness, but in reality, it is one of the bravest things you can do. It's easy to stay angry, it's hard to rise above it. And here's something powerful: when you forgive, you stop giving that person control over your emotions. They no longer have the power to trigger you because you've detached. It's like removing a thorn from your foot. You stop limping. You stop bleeding. You stop hurting yourself every time you take a step forward. Think about how nature forgives. The tree doesn't stop giving shade to the man who once threw stones at it. The river doesn't stop flowing just because someone polluted it yesterday. Life keeps moving. Nature teaches us that holding on to bitterness only delays our growth. There's another side to forgiveness that we often forget. It allows you to love yourself again. When we stay angry, we sometimes start blaming ourselves. Maybe I deserved it. Maybe I wasn't enough. But when you forgive, you release not just them, but also yourself. You tell yourself, I did the best I could. I will not punish myself for someone else's choices. That's when real healing begins. I know forgiving isn't easy. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, sometimes a long one. Some days you will feel free, and other days you will feel the pain again. But every time you choose to forgive, again and again, you loosen those chains a little more. Slowly, you wake up one morning and realize that the pain doesn't control you anymore. That's the moment you know you've truly forgiven. And here's the beauty of it. When you let go, life rewards you. Your energy becomes lighter, your heart becomes open, and new blessings begin to flow in. You attract better people, better opportunities, and better experiences because you've made space for them by letting go of the old pain. So, my dear friends, if someone has hurt you, take your time to grieve, to feel the pain, but when you are ready, forgive. Not for them, for you, for your peace, for your freedom. Let your forgiveness be the final act of power in a situation where you may have once felt powerless. And when you forgive, don't announce it to them, don't use it as a tool to get a reaction. Let it be your quiet victory, your private liberation. Because the person who hurt you may never say sorry, but you don't need their apology to heal. What you need is your own decision to release the pain and step into a life of peace. Forgiveness is not about forgetting what happened. It's about refusing to let it define you. It's about saying, yes, you hurt me. Yes, it was unfair. But you no longer have power over my heart. And when you do that, you will feel something incredible. A freedom so deep, so beautiful, that you will wonder why you didn't let go sooner. Because at the end of the day, forgiveness is not a gift to the one who hurt you. It is the greatest gift you can give yourself, the gift of peace, of healing, and of finally, truly moving on. My friends, one of the greatest lessons in life is understanding where to place your focus. When someone hurts you, the natural instinct is to give all your energy to that pain, to replay the moments in your head, to stalk their social media, to overthink every word and every action. But here's the truth: the more you focus on their drama, the more power you give them over your life, and the more you focus on yourself, on your growth, your joy, your circle of people who genuinely care about you, the faster you heal and the brighter you shine. Energy is like sunlight. Wherever you direct it, that thing grows. If you keep shining your light on the pain, the betrayal, or the rejection, that pain will grow bigger and bigger in your mind until it consumes you. But if you shift that light toward yourself, your dreams, your health, your relationships with people who love and value you, then you begin to bloom, you start to rise, and the hurt begins to shrink. I remember talking to a young woman after one of my sessions. She was devastated because her boyfriend had left her for someone else. Every day, she would check his online status, analyze his photos, and read too much into everything he posted. She said, "Swamiji, I can't stop thinking about him. How do I move on?" I looked at her and said, "Beta, every time you look at his life, you are watering his garden while yours is withering. Stop watering his life. Start watering your own." A few months later, she came back, looking like a completely different person. She had started spending time with her family, reconnected with her old friends, and even joined a painting class she'd always wanted to try. She told me, "Swamiji, I didn't even notice when I stopped thinking about him. I was too busy falling in love with my own life." That's what happens when you stop feeding someone else's drama and start investing in yourself. In daily life, this principle applies everywhere. At work, for example, there will always be that one colleague who tries to pull you down, who spreads negativity or gossip. If you keep engaging with them, thinking about them, or trying to prove yourself to them, you waste valuable energy. But the moment you focus on your own work, your growth, and your goals, their power over you disappears. Your success becomes your silence, and your peace becomes your victory. The same goes for friendships and family relationships. Sometimes we chase people who clearly don't value us. We try to explain ourselves, to prove our worth, to get their attention. But here's the reality: people who love you will never make you beg for their care or respect. So why waste your energy trying to decode the behavior of people who have already shown you where you stand in their lives? Instead, pour that energy into the people who show up for you, the friend who checks on you, the sibling who listens, the parent who prays for you, the colleague who supports you. These are your real circle. These are the people who deserve your time and your love. And when you start focusing on your circle, on the people and things that genuinely bring you joy, you'll notice something magical. The drama that once consumed you starts to fade. The texts you were waiting for don't matter anymore. The updates you were obsessing over don't interest you. Because you are too busy living, too busy building, too busy enjoying your own company and the company of those who truly matter. One of my favorite sayings is, where focus goes, energy flows. When your focus is on pain, you keep reopening the wound. But when your focus shifts to healing and growth, you allow yourself to move forward. This doesn't mean the hurt disappears overnight. Healing is a journey, not a moment. But every day you choose yourself, every day you invest in your dreams, every day you spend time with the people who lift you up, you take another step toward the life you deserve. Think about nature. A plant doesn't grow where it's not watered. It doesn't beg for sunlight in a corner of darkness. It simply withers and then finds a way to grow where the light is. You are no different. If someone has taken away their attention or their love, don't keep standing in that corner, waiting for them to return. Find your sunlight somewhere else. And believe me, the world is full of light, if only you choose to look in the right direction. Sometimes people ask me, Swami ji, doesn't ignoring someone mean you're weak or afraid? And I tell them, no, beta. Ignoring drama is strength. It means you value your peace more than their chaos. It means you're mature enough to walk away instead of fighting battles that don't serve your growth. When you focus on your circle, on the people who genuinely care for you, something beautiful happens. Your confidence grows. You stop seeking validation from the wrong places because you already feel valued and loved in the right places. You realize that love and respect are not things you should chase. They are things you should receive naturally from people who see your worth. And here's the best part. As you shift your focus to your own life, you attract better things. New opportunities, healthier relationships, and greater peace start flowing in. Why? Because your energy changes. When you stop being consumed by someone else's drama, you have the clarity and strength to build the life you truly want. So, my dear friends, if someone has hurt you or walked away, don't keep pouring your energy into their story. Close that chapter and start writing your own. Spend time with people who uplift you, who remind you of your worth, who make you laugh, and who bring peace to your heart. And while you're at it, nurture yourself too. Take that trip, read that book, start that class. Invest in the version of yourself that you've always wanted to be. Because at the end of the day, the best way to take back your power is not by fighting for someone's attention or approval, The best way is to focus so deeply on your growth, your happiness, and your circle that the person who once hurt you becomes just a distant memory. Your life becomes too full, too beautiful, and too meaningful to leave space for their drama. And that, my friends, is how you truly reclaim your peace. My friends, there is one universal truth that we often forget. When someone hurts us, life has its own way of balancing the scales. The universe, God, karma, whatever name you choose to give it, has a way of teaching lessons that no human being can teach. And when you truly understand this, you stop wasting your time plotting revenge or waiting for someone to get what they deserve. You learn to let go, to trust the process, and to let karma do its quiet, powerful work. When someone betrays you, insults you, or breaks your heart, the first thought that often comes is, I'll show them. I'll make them regret this. That feeling is natural. You are human, and hurt often demands justice. But here's the reality. When you try to take justice into your own hands, you only end up hurting yourself more. You stay tied to their energy, replaying the pain, thinking of ways to prove your worth or get even. Instead of healing, you keep reopening the wound. But when you step back and say, I will not carry this burden, I will let life take care of it, something amazing happens. You feel lighter. You start to focus on yourself, on your peace, on your growth. And slowly, you watch as the universe begins to move pieces you didn't even know were there. People who hurt others eventually face their own storms, not because you wished it, but because that's how life works. I remember speaking to a young man who had been betrayed by his business partner. They started the business together, but when things began to flourish, his partner took everything and left him with nothing. The young man was devastated. He said, Swamiji, I want to destroy him. I want him to feel the pain I feel. I told him gently, Beta, you focus on rebuilding. Let karma do the teaching. At first, he didn't believe me, but a few years later, that same man came back to me, smiling. He had built a new business, bigger and better than before, and his ex-partner, he had lost everything because of his greed. The young man said, Swamiji, you were right. Life taught him what I could never have taught. That's the beauty of letting go and trusting karma. You save yourself years of bitterness and pain. You allow life to do its work while you do yours, healing, growing, and creating a better future. Even in daily life, we see this. Maybe at work, someone tries to take credit for your hard work. Maybe a colleague spreads lies about you. Instead of getting dragged into drama or lowering yourself to their level, what if you just smiled, stayed quiet, and focused on doing your best? Over time, the truth always comes out. People who build their success on lies always face their own downfall, and you rise with your dignity intact. There's a saying I love, what you plant is what you harvest. If someone plants seeds of pain, betrayal, and dishonesty, that is what they will eventually reap. It might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, but it will happen. That is the law of life. And when you truly believe this, you stop chasing revenge because you know justice doesn't need your help. Letting karma handle things also protects your energy. Revenge keeps you chained to the past. It keeps you replaying the same hurt over and over again. But when you let go and trust that the universe will handle it, You create space for healing and growth. You take all that energy you were wasting on anger and use it to build yourself up, to learn, to grow, to create a life so good that the person who hurt you no longer even matters. I once met a woman who had been deeply hurt by a close friend. She told me I wanted to expose her, to make everyone see what kind of person she really was. But instead, I chose to let it go. I focused on my own journey. Years later, that friend faced her own consequences, not because of anything this woman did, but because life caught up. She told me, Swamiji, that day I understood the power of patience. Life always delivers what is due in its own time. And here's the most important thing. Letting karma work is not about wishing bad for anyone. It's about releasing yourself from the burden of carrying hate. Because hate is heavy, it drains your joy, your energy, and your peace. Forgiveness lets you put that weight down, but trusting karma ensures you don't pick it up again. The universe works with a balance that we may not always see. Someone may seem happy today after hurting you, but you don't know their tomorrow. And honestly, you don't need to know. Your job is not to watch their story unfold. Your job is to write your own story, one of strength, dignity, and growth. Think of a farmer planting seeds. He doesn't stand there shouting at the soil, demanding the crop to grow faster. He simply trusts the process, waters the seeds, and waits. And in time, the harvest comes. Life is exactly like that. Your patience, your calm, your trust, they are your way of watering your future. And one day, without even realizing it, you find yourself standing in a life so full, so beautiful, that you barely remember the pain of the past. So, my dear friends, the next time someone hurts you, resist the urge to seek revenge. Don't waste your precious energy plotting or proving. Smile, let go, and say to yourself, I trust life. I trust karma. My job is to heal and grow. Life's job is to balance the scales. Because in the end, nothing confuses those who hurt you more than your peace. Nothing teaches them more than the silent lessons of life. And nothing is more liberating than knowing you don't need to fight battles that the universe has already won for you. So live well, grow beautifully, focus on your own journey, and let karma be the teacher, the judge, and the messenger, because it always delivers, not on your timing, but always on time.